Hey coders, in this lecture we're going to talk about coordinates and digital color, and this lecture applies to all creative coding courses in the series. Think back to 8th grade when you were taking geometry. You might remember a coordinate system, coordinate plane, where 0 was in the center. In computing, things are a little bit different. Our coordinate system is in the upper left-hand corner, and we still use an x and y coordinate system. X is for the horizontal and Y is for the vertical position. We describe a point by using this format. It's open parentheses, X, comma, Y, close parentheses. 0, 0 is in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, and that's also called the origin. For example, 1, 4 would be 1 pixel right and 4 pixels down. So on this diagram, it's 1 pixels right, 1, 2, 3, 4 pixels down. On computers, color is additive. Now, what does additive mean? Additive means that all of the colors combined add up to white. In computing, color is mostly described in terms of red, green, and blue, values that in that order. I.e. RGB, and you'll hear that term RGB thrown around quite a bit. The range of possible colors is described using numbers from 0 to 255. For example, in processing P5.js, you would fill a shape with the command fill 25500. That is a red fill. And I want you to notice each of these spaces refers to R, red, G, B. In Swift, it's a little bit different. You would take your object or shape and you would modify its fill color by adding an equal sign, and you would pump in the color red, green, blue with an alpha of 1.0, and we'll talk about alpha in a little bit. But you can notice the Swift is a little bit more clear as to what it actually does. Another common alternative to the RGB color mode is called HSB, which stands for hue, saturation, and brightness. On the right over here, I want you to notice this animated GIF. This is an artwork by the artist Adam Ferris. He uses code. This particular artwork was used in the New York Times as an illustration for a story. So I want to show you an example of a color selector, and I'm going to choose the processing color selector. All of you can download this program. It is freely available on the internet. Any color selector will probably also have the relevant fields I'm going to talk about. So you could use Photoshop or GIMP or any photo manipulation tool to look at a color selector. So the color selector translates colors into numbers. And you'll see all of the numbers over here are the kinds of numbers that computers like to use to describe colors. So first we're going to talk about hue. Hue goes in a circle, and 0 degrees is red. And circles end at 360 degrees, so 360 is also red. And you can kind of imagine if this were bent into a circle. You see 0 all the way through 360. Saturation is the intensity of the color from grayscale to pure. So this line here demonstrates 0 saturation all the way to 99% saturation. Brightness is how bright the color is from black to white. And you can see here in this strip, you see black being 0 and then white being 99%. Now the RGB values range from 0 to 255. And there are hex codes too. Hex color codes are used on the web in HTML and CSS code, and you might find it useful at times in creative coding. This color selector and the processing program is available for free at processing.org. So if you need to use a color selector on your computer and you want one that's free, go ahead to that website and you will find it. So I want to talk a little bit about transparency. Sometimes you'll see color described in 4 terms, as in R, G, B, and A. The fourth term stands for alpha. Alpha is the level of transparency and allows objects to be see-through. So in this image on the right, this is actually two images, and one of them incorporates alpha. So you can see the dots below are visible through the gradient because of the alpha that it has. And it's going to be super useful for your projects. In processing in P5.js, you can use alpha by just adding a fourth term to your fill color. So anywhere that you would use a color, you would ordinarily see three colors, three terms. If you add a fourth, that's automatically alpha. And so this particular color right here is actually a 50% transparent red. Now the same fill in Swift would look a little bit different. You would modify the fill of an object and you would pump in the color like this, and you would see it's red 255, green 0, blue 0, and alpha of 0.5. And so you can see the Swift version is a little bit wordier, a little bit longer, but a little bit clearer. And that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.